Hey y'all, welcome back to the Austin Boarding Pass live stream. Today we got a short video, not a ton going on today, but real short and sweet about all the ways to get from somewhere in Austin to the airport or vice versa if you're trying to get from the I can hear myself echoing. Okay, I had the stream open. But best ways to get from the airport to and from the airport, the best transportation options, the cheapest, the absolute fastest ways to get to the airport. And we'll talk a little bit about reliability as well, because that matters a lot. So let's just get into it here. So let me get into my slide deck here. Okay. So yeah, the Austin transportation guide for the airport, getting to and from the airport, best strategies. Let's get into it. We'll start with the most boring way, the way that I think everyone gets to the airport already. There's really not a ton of ways to get to the airport, but I think I have a few that you may not have heard about yet. So we have driving, of course. And if you're driving, you probably have to park that car somewhere, right? Or rent a car. So you do have this is the actual Austin airport's parking lots. There are a few private parking lots as well, but they have similar prices. I don't know if you're really gonna how much they undercut or even oversell the airport. I'm not exactly sure. And a lot of them you have to like go and reserve it and before they tell you the price. So what's nice about the Austin airport is they just have their rates online, and you can also check on their Twitter account if there's parking available, which is always nice. And the reason I have the map open here, and as you can see, is the cheapest is the economy parking in green, which is really nice in that you can just walk from the terminal to these lots. There's actually a walkway that goes underneath the red garage and goes between the blue garage and the I think this is like the rental car garage, and then you can actually just walk out. This is like dashed line. So you can actually just walk out. So if you're parked there and you don't want to deal with the shuttle, it was a thing I did a lot during COVID. I didn't want to sit in a shuttle before I was gonna hop on an airplane as well. Was to just walk between the terminal and the parking lot, which is really nice. And you don't have to wait for the shuttle, and the shuttle is probably going to start over here, and then maybe you're parked over here, and it takes forever. So honestly, I would just recommend walking, unless you're parked all the way over here, which was me. I think I parked over here last time I went to the airport, so I had we were like, well, screw it. I guess shuttle's gonna be faster than just walking all this way, and I think it was really warm. So another thing to consider is it's probably gonna be hot. So um, yeah, honestly, I prefer the parking situation where you can just park at the airport and you can just walk there. The red and the green, the red and blue garages are great, especially if it's raining. The blue garage is only what, yeah, so it's $7 more per day. If you're staying, so if you're doing like maybe 1 or 2 days, weekend trip, something like that, it might be worth your time, money just to park at the blue garage, especially if it's going to rain or be really hot or something. It's kind of nice to park your car in a garage. The red garage is $29 a day, so probably not worth. I don't know who's worth parking there. You can get reserve parking in these lots, but I think it is an additional $4 a day, and I don't know. I don't know if that's worth it. The South Terminal also has a parking lot, but it also has the same price of $12 per day. So it's not really worth your time parking there and then taking the shuttle back or vice versa. So, just park at whatever terminal you're going to. And that's it really for parking. The other thing I wanted to talk about was when you go to pick up your friends or you're telling your friend to pick you up, drop you off. I have this picture here down in the bottom left here of the cell phone waiting area. There's like a really expensive gas station. Don't actually buy gas there. There's a Whataburger. There's like a little store. I think there's a Subway now. So you can you can wait in that area, which is really nice. So if if they're early or whatever, they can just wait there, and then text them once you're close. And the my little chart here is from a past stream, but really the strategy should be, hey, if it's before 10 a.m., just always go to the arrivals. So that would be above ground, like the upper level. So always go to the arrivals. Whether you're picking someone up or dropping them off, always go to the arrivals. And then in the afternoon, after 10 a.m., really, just go to the departures level. That's where it's going to be less busy. It takes longer for people to get picked up, so they're always just sort of waiting, and it's crazy. So that would be departures would. Sorry, yes, departures would be the up top level, the above level, and then the lower level would be the arrivals. So I had that backwards. So another good strategy. The other way to get to the airport is transit. Believe it or not, people don't even. I'm surprised the amount of people that don't know this. We have a very good way and reliable way to get to the airport with transit in the city. It's using Cap Metro, and it's our bus system here in the city. And all it costs, I think, is $1.25. So that is gonna be very, very difficult to beat. $1.25. I don't think you'll ever beat that. They recently just came out with an update to their Cap Metro app. So, uh, there's tons of ways you can pay for it. I would highly suggest, if you're coming to Austin for the first time, or maybe you've never taken the bus, is to just download the Cap Metro app on your phone. And then now you can get these AMP cards, and the AMP card is similar to other transit cards around the world. And really, the idea is like, hey, there's like a daily maximum. So I think the daily maximum is $2.50. So, however many trips you take, transfers or whatever, in that day can't exceed $250, or $2.50, and 250 pennies, I guess. And so that is what's nice about the AMP cards. You can just scan it. There's a QR code and there's a little reader when you get on, or you can just really show. A lot of times, I just show the driver the QR code, and it's cool. And it's really good, honestly. There's this map here on the right doesn't really show all of the stops, because there's just a ton of stops, and that's also kind of annoying if you're trying to get to a certain spot. But um, there's a ton of stops, which makes it kind of reliable for a lot of people. If you're trying to get downtown, this is great. It took me. I took this this bus route when I was in school, when I went to UT, and I would go from the airport to UT. And of course, UT students have free bus pass, so this was completely free, which was great. And to get to UT, it took about 45 minutes. So to get to downtown is probably about 35 minutes, something like that. So that's honestly not that bad. And it picks up right in front of the airport. So it'd be on that lower level, the arrival section. Go all the way to the right. There's a big guitar shaped bus stop. You really can't miss it. Just follow the signs for the bus transportation. And I think a lot of these buses are also fitted with luggage racks. So honestly, it's a pretty great service. Um, Pretty hard to beat, honestly. And I think I'll leave it at that. But um, yeah, definitely check out the 20. The other option to get to the airport, believe it or not, if you've ever been to the airport, I've certainly never done this. Maybe I'll do a video when it's not 100 degrees outside, but you can bike or walk or hike or however you want to the airport. There's actually a very reasonable way to get there. It's not as crazy as it sounds. I was looking at the Austin Bike Map. If you want to get this, you just search Austin Bike Map, and it'll come up, be the first result. And this dashed green line here, and I've highlighted it here in red, but this dashed green line is a bike facility. So it's like completely separated from the road, which is really nice. There is basically no shade. So maybe don't take this in the summer unless, for maybe you have a shower at the airport. I don't know. I don't think any of the places at the airport have showers, but maybe you work there or something and there's a shower. But um, yeah, definitely not great for summer. But in the fall or spring or winter, it's probably not too bad. You can bike to the airport pretty easily. This would probably be about a 20-minute bike ride starting from here in East Austin to the actual airport. You don't really have to stop for anything except at this intersection here, and there's another intersection here. But there's an old bridge here. This is all like separated from traffic. It's actually pretty decent. paved little path. Honestly, I would definitely check it out. I want to do it in a future video, maybe just walking to the airport from downtown or something, just to see how long it takes and if it's actually reasonable. And then getting from here over to the rest of the city is actually pretty easy. It's not that much further to get to downtown. There, you can also hook into the hike and bike trail, which is really nice. I didn't realize you could do that. So definitely something to check out. They have bike racks at the red parking garage. So if I go back real quick, this is the red parking garage. There's these entrances here. Uh, the bike route actually goes down through the middle here and it goes underneath. And there are bike racks. I made sure there are bike racks at the airport that you can leave your bike at if you feel comfortable doing that. If you don't, I don't know what else there is to do if you want to bike and leave. I don't know what else there could be done. I hope they add like bike lockers or something cool, like some sort of bike, some better bike options for storing a bike there. But I just don't think that many people do it. So definitely something to consider, especially if you like biking, if you like getting out in the outdoors. It's really not as crazy as I thought it would be. What else? So I just want to cover our best options here. So I picked three options for both the fastest and the cheapest, which I think is really all people care about, right? So the fastest option, the number one fastest option from to or from the airport is going to be private transportation. So if you hire like a limo or like a driving service, something like that, one of the guys that will be at the bottom of the escalator with the sign saying, "Hey, I'm here to pick up so and so," um, Mr. Whoever, Mr. Smith, I'm here to pick him up. That's probably going to be your fastest option at just about every airport in the world. At Austin, it's certainly going to be the case. A lot of times, they're just going to be able to park uh, in the departures area, like where you actually are there, so they can just walk you out to the car, put you in the car, and then you'll be gone. It's probably the fastest way. The second fastest way is probably just to have a friend pick you up or drop you off. Honestly, that's really hard to beat because they can go to the arrivals and drop off area. Ubers also do that as well. If you're getting dropped off, they will take you to the drop off area or to the actual like front of the terminal. Whereas if you're picking up an Uber, you have to go to the red or not the red parking garage. It's like next to the. It's like it's near the. It's a bit of a walk. It's like a 10-minute walk from the airport to the Uber area, if you're taking an Uber, and I think taxis go to the same place as well now. So honestly, yeah, that can be a little bit slower. I didn't really include that in my driving part because honestly, it's so it's a decent option everywhere you go. Personally, I find that those Ubers and Lyfts can get really expensive, especially if you're flying like late in the day. So let's say you're flying back and it's a red eye flight, maybe, or maybe not a red eye flight, but maybe you arrive at like 10 p.m., 11 p.m. I find a lot of times those are very expensive Ubers to get picked up. I also find the South Terminal in particular has really expensive Ubers because it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. So people have to go way out of their way to pick you up there. So prices just tend to surge there really crazy. So when that's happening, I would honestly really look at taxis. If not, maybe just pay a friend like $30 instead of paying 50, $80 for an Uber. The cheapest options, certainly the cheapest way is to just walk or bike to the airport, right? I mean, if you just walk there, that's free. It's just calories, right? And maybe how sweaty or sunburned you get during the summer. The second, and honestly, this is probably cheaper than just walking or biking if you consider the time that it would take and the amount of effort. Cap Metro is just so cheap. It's $1.25 one way. I mean, that's just so cheap. $2.50 for a day pass on Cap Metro. So if you're doing transfers, that's also included in the $1.25. So, I mean, it's worth it. Honestly, Cap Metro is very cheap, very affordable way to get to the airport. And then the third is honestly to have someone pick you up or drop you off. Same one there. I think that's probably the best option overall. It's cheap. Obviously it's up to you exactly how you want to reward your friends for doing that. Maybe pay for gas or pay for Whataburger at the cell phone waiting area. But yeah, those are your best options to get to and from the airport. Dashboards. I want to wrap up this stream real quick and talk a little bit about my dashboards that I've created that have all the flight stats that power a lot of these different, more stat driven streams. This one's not too much about stats, but I did want to share some with y'all. I've been tracking now since May 19th is when I started my dashboard on the flight stats. And we can definitely see here, this is like the trend that we've seen basically all summer. Whereas before, really the peak of summer here, we had like some really, this blue here is on time. So, we were seeing over 70% of flights be on time. And then we just had a big drop when we just had the huge surge at the airport when school was out. School, I think, starting back up next week here in Texas. And then now we're back on that ascension mode. A lot of these flights are being more on time more frequently since that June, July peak. And now that we're in August, and we've also had very good weather. It's been incredibly hot, but nothing that's going to prevent flights taking off. And then you can see here this dark blue is cancellations. And there was that huge spike in early July or late June, and that was all due to the flights. I think that was mostly United on the East Coast. So yeah, if you want access to these dashboards, they're cost me a little bit of money to actually maintain these and to store all the data. So I would appreciate if y'all supported me on our Patreon. It's $5 a month, and you get access to all of the flight stats that you could want. So really, the idea is that this is something I've wanted for a long time, which is really a way for me to be able to search and say, hey, is this flight actually worth taking? Like, I think one of the things that I look for when I'm flying is price and time. Those are probably the most two important things. And a big component of time when you're searching for a flight is how likely is it going to actually be on time? And I think that's a really big missing part of consumers. And I think my dashboards can really help you become a more informed consumer. With searching up, you can search by flight number, by airport, by direction. So you want arrivals or you want departures. So you can really get a better sense of saying, hey, this flight's on time 90% of the time. And you'll see that, I think a lot of people, based on my last video's reaction, was like, yeah, Spirit is terrible. Well, maybe Spirit is flying that route to Orlando better than Delta is, or whatever. I don't know. I don't even know if Delta flies to Orlando, but it really does depend on a case by case basis. What time of day? There's tons of things that go into why a flight could be late. So this dashboard could hopefully get you ahead of that, or to maybe even consider leaving some more time or whatever it is. So this is just my project. We've currently tracked 44,836 flights since May 19th. So definitely a ton of data in there to look through. All right, y'all. Thank you. This is the Austin Boarding Pass. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. I think I definitely learned something when I was looking this up about the way to bike and walk to the airport. I've heard there's a way to do it, but I've actually looked it up, and I think that's something we're going to have to do on a future video, is actually maybe do a live stream of us walking there or something. I don't know. It sounds crazy. Definitely going to wait for the fall for that one, but all right. See y'all.